All right, good morning, everyone. All right, let's get started. First things first, let's take a look at the economic data for today. All right, so for today, we have the following: August 3rd, we have challenger job cuts year over year, unemployment claims, preliminary non-farm productivity quarter over quarter, preliminary unit labor costs quarter over quarter, final services PMI. Now, sorry, before I get to final services, all of these have been released already. So, Challenger job cuts came in at negative 8.2%. There's no listed expectation there, so, and it's not a major report, so no big deal. Unemployment claims came in as expected, so no surprise there. Preliminary non-farm productivity quarter over quarter came in worse than expected, 3.7%. Unit labor costs came in worse than expected at 1.6%. And we're waiting for final services PMI, which will be at 9:45 Eastern, so 1 hour. Then at 10 o'clock Eastern, we'll have ISM services PMI, which is a major release, and that should have a significant impact on the market. Factory orders month over month comes out at the same time. And pretty much that is it for Thursday as far as the data that will be coming out. Now, having said that, let's take a look at the market. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So far, doesn't look like there's much of a response to the news so far. Just a slight jump in volatility, and that's it. So not seeing anything significant there. All right, so having said that, let's go ahead and take a look at what was moving yesterday. All right, we had a lot of stocks going to the downside, so let's just go over them. Rivian was able to reach target number one to the downside, which was 25.49, and it didn't reach target number two, which was 24.56. Rivian bottomed out 24.84. Yell, which has been bullish on most days, turned out to be bearish and sold off very sharply yesterday. So that one, although it had been bullish for the last couple of days, did not do so yesterday. Starbucks was able to reach its target number two of 103.05. One of the few stocks that really performed well in the bullish direction yesterday. APLS was heading towards its target number one, which was 25.37, but it stopped short of that, 7 cents short, topped out at 25.30, and then reversed all the way back down to target number one to the downside, which was 22.87. All right, then Amazon was able to reach target number one to the downside, which was 127.94, and it got halfway to target number two to the downside, bottoming out at 126.82. Next up, NVIDIA, or some people say NVIDIA, either way. NVIDIA reached target number 2 to the downside of 438.33 and then bottomed out just below that at 433.87. Cisco Systems was bullish. Again, one of the few stocks that really did well to the upside. That reached 52.91, target number 1 to the upside, and then topped out at 53.11, which was about just under halfway to target number 2, which it did not reach. Meanwhile, Coinbase was able to reach its target number 1 to the upside, which was 94.99, but then it topped out shortly after that and then sold off. It almost reached target number 1 to the downside, didn't hit it, but it got within about 14 cents of target number 1 to the downside, which was 87.91. The stock bottomed out at 88.05. AHI did have a sharp move up at the open, shortly after the open, but then that was it. As you can see, it didn't really do much other than this one move there. Next up is Riot. Riot Blockchain was able to reach target number 1 to the upside of 18.97, topped out at 19.20, then turned around and sold off almost down to its target number 1 to the downside. It bottomed at 17.55. CrowdStrike was bearish, able to reach target number 2 to the downside of 155.25, and then it bottomed out at 152.5 or 0.56. Next up, we have AMSC, which was able to reach target number 1 to the downside of 12.82, and then it continued to go down. It went down roughly double, or roughly 50% lower than its target number 2, so a pretty large move down. Applied Materials, AMAT, was also bearish. It did reach its target number 1 of 148.41 on its downward move, but it did not get to the second downward target. It got to about, I would say, well, in this case, over 3/4 of the way there. So it bottomed out somewhere around 146.87 during the regular session. Lyft started the day off bullish at first, but then it turned around and sold off. Never reached either of its targets to the upside or downside, just stayed in between them, but got pretty close to target number 1 on the way up, not so close to target number 2 on the way down. And that's pretty much it for what we saw. So let's look at what stocks are moving in the pre-market today. All right, so for the pre-market, we're looking for, of course, NASDAQ stocks. That's the only thing we trade here. We're looking for NASDAQ stocks that are trading at least 1 million shares in pre-market volume, meaning that when we look up here at the top, we would have to see a number of 1 million or more, which we do not see, of course, for Lyft. Over here, we would have to see a percent change that is at least 6% or greater positive, or 6% or less negative, which we do not see as well. And of course, the stock would have to be trading at least $1 per share. So right now, I do have some stocks that may meet that criteria. So first up, I have ADMP, which is trading above $1 per share. It is a NASDAQ stock, of course. Percent change is over 20%, so that definitely qualifies. And 8.2 million shares traded. So everything matches up there. Okay. So we'll add ADMP to our pre-market watch list. One second. There we are. That's the second day in a row that ADMP is on the list. Next up, we've got ARAV, which is currently down 61.57%, trading 8.5 million shares of volume. However, we have a problem here. The stock is trading under $1 per share. It wasn't before, but now it is. So unfortunately, this one does not qualify for that reason, so we'll have to pass on it. It was trading yesterday above $1, but today you can clearly see it's trading at 49 cents. So that does not qualify. All right, next up we've got NKLA, Nikola, which is currently down only 1.34%. So everything else was fine, the right amount of volume. It's a NASDAQ stock, it's trading above $1, but percent change is too small, so that doesn't qualify. So we'll skip that one. And the last one I see that may qualify is MBSE. MBSE is currently trading 2 million shares pre-market. It's $1.26 per share, but percent change only 3.28%. Now there is a good possibility that if this makes just a slight move up, that number will be at 6%. So I'll put that as a possibility. I won't put that on the actual pre-market list. I'll just put it as a potential to look at just before the open to see if the stock is at the appropriate price change at that point. All right, so we'll look at AMSC again, see what that looks like. That does qualify, 17.98% down, 1.5 million shares traded, has the right price range, is a NASDAQ stock. So yes, that does qualify. So good one for that, Russell. All right, so we'll add AMSC to our pre-market radar. PayPal, let's see. Yep, PayPal does qualify. We have negative 8.88%, 1.1 million shares traded, and of course we know it's in the right price range. So PayPal will be added to our pre-market list as well. So if you folks see any other stocks that meet our criteria, any other NASDAQ stocks trading at least at $1 per share or higher at the present, and they have to trade at least 1 million shares in pre-market volume. If they're extraordinarily close to that, in other words, if you're 900,000, 980,000 and quickly rising, I will consider those, but it has to be very close in volume. And of course, the percent change has to be substantial. It can't be just a small change. So Sergeant Jones mentions BMRA. That does qualify. That does qualify as far as what it's doing. So we can add that. So it's currently up 29%, 3.8 million shares, trading above $1. Yep, that qualifies. So MBSE will be added to our radar. We already have, I'm sorry, not MBSE, I meant to say BMRA. Sorry, BMRA. All right, any other stocks, folks, that meet the criteria we're looking for, let me know in the chat, and I'll go ahead and take a look. So far, we have 4 stocks, ADMP, AMSC, PYPL, and BMRA. Yeah, well, we're just looking at that one again. Um, well, I'll put that as a possibility since it's now going back up. I mean, Yale will probably do something during the day either way, so I'll put that as a possibility, but I won't add it right now to the pre-market list. But it has been moving recently, so we'll see. All right, folks. Any other stocks that meet our criteria? Let me know in the chat. All right. So we'll wrap up the pre-market pulse for this morning. Be sure to like this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. That way you'll know when a new video is posted. And also make sure you like the video. That does help us with YouTube. Our subscriber base has been growing very rapidly. We appreciate that, and we want that to continue. All right. If you're not familiar with our company, please be sure to check out fundertrading.com, our website. You'll see a link to that in the description of this video, and that will go over how we fund traders to trade stocks and stock options. Other than that, I'll see everyone who's in the program in the coaching room, and we'll go from there. So I'll be there in about 20 minutes, okay? All right, folks, I'll see you guys there. Have a good one. Take care.